We're going to open up the Acolytes, both of them, Faarooq and Bradshaw. Classic Attitude Era tag team put together. Just felt really natural, even though they were kind of two separate guys with separate storylines for so long. We'll get these open up, compare them to some other figures, even some other elites of Faarooq and Bradshaw themselves. I don't even know which one to open first. Always say Faarooq and Bradshaw, so I guess we'll go Faarooq, then Bradshaw. In the Legends packaging. Kind of started watching wrestling when he was ending his Nation of Domination run. Definitely knew him more as the Acolyte Faarooq. The wacky evil symbols, kind of joining the Undertaker's group. Kind of taking guys that were kind of lost, not sure what to do next. Making his Ministry of Darkness. Just making a legendary group with all these guys. Classic old tights here, a little bit Undertaker-y with the symbol there. And again, always knew them as the Acolytes in all the video games of the time. WrestleMania 2000, especially, with this specific attire, with the music and all that. And the great thing with these, they come with a WWF Tag Team Championship, all shiny and gold. So you get both of them, you get a full set of tag titles. Definitely handy for any other tag team figures or just them themselves as well. Multiple time tag team champions this time. Pretty solid face there and everything, especially when we start to compare it to the older elites. Kind of the later APA Faarooq that would have been in like WWF No Mercy with this like shirt and everything like that. They're kind of different music and setup. But you can see the huge difference in the past elites. Way better like human looking skin tone, and then the facial printing kind of leaps and bounds ahead. Possibly even the same scan, but just the difference the paint makes with these. But I definitely like the more classic Acolyte look like this. Sorry to the APA figures, but don't take this whipping personal. And he's got alternate hands that are open. Comes with the fist there with the tape, and then even his little kind of muscle bands too are just painted on, just like his symbols. Let's get Bradshaw so we can talk about both of them together. Coming with the open hands default, and his alternates are the fist. Another tag team championship around the waist. Full set we can give to any of the cool Attitude Era tag teams of the time. Just first of all, his face, really awesome. Very good likeness. And I like the hair. Slicked back, just kind of short, not super long. The same armband and the symbols, of course. He got his own special symbols. The same attire, kind of making them more unified like a team. Still kind of representing their Undertaker stable. He's even got his earrings and stuff in here. Little elbow pad on this arm. But here's where the older elite for Bradshaw seems like a huge head, first of all, on this one. And then you can just see this might be the same sculpt, possibly. I might be wrong. I mean, the hair is obviously different. He has longer hair here. But just the difference the paint makes, even if it's not the same sculpt, even if it's just, well, trying to get a Bradshaw face. My God, it almost looks like a bootleg, even though this was like the height of elites at the time. But leaps and bounds, and I like this older one kind of doing like a Ministry of Darkness stable versus the later APA kind of doing their own little business in the bar kind of thing. So great as a team here, looking awesome with the very good looking bodies and attire and the paint, and then getting the super awesome facial scans. So these are like perfect for my Attitude Era collection. The older APA ones actually kind of got me back into collecting this time period of wrestling figure, because they had that almost a build play set with the accessories. Had their door and their table and chairs and everything. I couldn't really pass it up. It was just really funny. They'd make everybody go through the door instead of walking around it, even though there was no like room for their little kind of poker table setup. But I'm still glad I have these just for that later look. I might even have to split my collection at some point into kind of earlier Attitude Era versus later, with like APA and like people like Kurt Angle and stuff like that kind of represent later, the later end of, you know, the end of the Attitude Era, maybe more towards WrestleMania 17 and stuff like that. But the older pair is definitely more in my time period wheelhouse, that earlier Attitude Era time, and you get a full set of tag team championships. It's going to be useful for any of your figures. Always good to have multiples of some of the titles of the past, so you can kind of don't have to pick just one champion set on your shelf. You can kind of champion up some multiple teams, since there are a lot of just normal tag teams in the Attitude Era, but then there's a lot of main event Tag teams, you probably know what I'm talking about when just the main eventers mysteriously team up and are suddenly tag team champions all of a sudden, mostly for kind of storyline purposes where they might fight each other later, or they're fighting so much with another main event kind of guy with a team member. It was just kind of cool to see the tag titles pop in and out of the main event scene. Faarooq and Bradshaw right there, even though they were just a tag team, in and out, winning and losing them to some big teams and big main event players. So I open all my Attitude Era figures I get here, and just kind of general this time period, also like WCW, ECW, and everything. So check out the playlist. You might want to get subscribed in case you want to see any more figures I get, you know, past and new releases. Good figures to represent this time period. That's what I love to get and love to show you right here. And hopefully I'll get to see you in the next video.